Hello, I'm Aaron Killian, and I'm here with my fellow guide, Carla Smith, and we're inside. Where are we inside right now, Carla? You tell me.
We are inside the newly opened National Museum of African American Heritage and Culture.
I tried saying that before, and I mangled it, so I'm going to have Carla do it. So there is no wise old man at this point that knows all the ins and outs of the museum because it's so new, but we got to come here today for the Guild's familiarization tour to learn a few things, and I was hoping that Carla here is going to tell us a thing or two about what she's learned about the museum so far, how to get oriented here, and some important details that might be of use to you when you bring your groups in. So, Carla, what's some stuff you've learned?
So let's start from the logistics on the outside. So there are two entrances. There's an entrance off of Constitution Avenue and an entrance off of Madison on the mall side. So here's what I know things to be. I haven't experienced all of these situations, but I did quiz the security people outside. So bus pickup and drop off is on the Madison side of the museum. And then what you will do is if you do have a group, they will then walk around to the Constitution side, follow signs that say ticket holders. So you will then snake around and follow a gated walkway that will actually take you back to the Madison side of the museum to enter.
So they all the way around,
exactly,
right?
because it would be too congested for people to be dropped off and then immediately line up for screening. It would just be a logistical nightmare. So you do end up walking around and then snake back. Mm-hmm. Now, the exceptions to that, as I understand them, are the entrance to the museum on the Constitution Avenue side are for seniors, 65 and over, and handicapped. What they also mentioned to me is if you have someone in your tour group who is obviously seniors or someone who's handicapped, then the whole group can enter on the Constitution Avenue side. So and if you're just an individual or a small group, a family with tickets, everybody will be directed to the Madison Avenue side. So that's the logistics of entering. So then you walk in, and then you are in Heritage Hall. There are restrooms on the Heritage Hall level, and there's a visitor's desk. At the moment, they are not giving out any materials. My experience was when you ask for a map, they have a large blow-up of the map, and they ask you to take a picture of it. They are not. That may change, but for right now, that is what they are saying to do, take a picture of their map. They are very strongly recommending that you download the app before your visit, or even once you get here, they recommend that you download the app for information about what's on every level.
And then the museum store is on that Heritage Hall level too, right,
yes,
Carla?
It's a very small museum store for those of you who are familiar with American history or natural history, air and space. So it's small, there are a lot of very high-end pieces also, pieces of artwork that you can buy.
And there, as far as the layout of the museum itself, yes. Carla, when it's kind of, even though there are many stories inside the museum, there's kind of a top half to the museum and a bottom half.
Exactly.
So could you just talk a little bit about how they've divided it up here?
Certainly. So in order to experience the chronological historical exhibits, what you do is you either walk or you can take an elevator down one level, is where you have the Oprah Winfrey Theater, which as of October 2016 is still not open yet, and it's also where the restaurant is, the cafeteria, which is open. When you get to that first lower level, that's where you get online to get onto the elevators to go down 3 floors to the history exhibit. So counterintuitive to the Holocaust Museum, you actually start 3 floors below where you get on the elevator, and then you come up floor by floor. Work your way up.
And then the top half of the museum is specific to like African Americans in sports and culture and that type of thing.
Exactly. Right? So you have the main entrance level, and then one level up, they call it the communities the communities level, and it talks about faith, African Americans in terms of their faith, education. Then also on that communities level is where all the sports memorabilia and the stories about the Olympics and the different sports personalities, that's all on that communities level. And then one level up from that is the cultural level. Very, very fun. And so I would definitely recommend it, no matter how much time you have that you spend downstairs in the history. Please, I would recommend making time for the cultural level. This is the music and theater, and there's even an art gallery. There's an art gallery of several rooms, very beautifully curated, mostly modern art. You really have to manage your time when you are here, because otherwise the time will slip away from you. And it is one of those, like most of the Smithsonian museums, you do need more than one trip. But one thing I would say is, no matter how much time you have to spend here, make sure you get to that cultural level on the top floor. Just absolute fun.
And one of the things, I talked with a couple people at the information desk, and the 2 points that they told me was, if you're going to use the cafeteria downstairs, you got to get there early, because the line develops pretty quickly and can get very long. And then also, the information desk folks, they suggested that if you're bringing a school group in, send the kids upstairs, because they're going to get more out of their interaction with the exhibits upstairs than they might necessarily going through the chronological exhibits downstairs.
Yes, I think that is twofold. On the first is that there is just so much information on the lower three levels that their attention span is so short. Number one, unless you have a particular group that really studied a particular period and they have done their research in advance and want to see specific things, that would be a different case scenario. But if you only have an hour or an hour and a half, I think that's an excellent piece of advice, is to take them to the communities level and the cultural level, because that's certainly something that's more relevant to their personal history and day-to-day life experience.
It's a pretty cool museum, don't you think, Carla?
Very exciting. It's long overdue on the National Mall, but of course we don't talk about politics or things like that. It is certainly long overdue on the National Mall. It's an exquisite building and very exciting, and this is only my second visit here. I have tickets for several future visits.
Yeah, the second of many, right?
Yes,
I assume for all of us.
Absolutely.
And I know that the Guild, too, is working on more events to bring guides over here and get them familiarized. So it's something we're working on. So if you haven't gotten a chance to come here yet with a group, you'll certainly get a chance, most likely, to come here with the Guild and future events that we do. So anything else you want to say, Carla?
No, just once again, download the app. Do your research in advance so you know how to manage your time. That's my one piece of advice.